component life cycle related methods.
टाइट हो रहा है जी ऊपर।
जो भी हो रहा वहाँ बदल लेना।
So
लेके जा रहे
here
लेते चले हैं।
कौन
how to deal with
है ये के पास जो तोरा कल का वाला है
the component
हाँ खाली
life cycle
ये फिर मेरा भी तो लावेगा वहाँ
hooks.
से वाली बेगवा
Component life cycle hooks. We have component will mount. We have component
खींच के चला
did mount. Component did update. And we have like component will unmount. Component will unmount. So these are the actions. So component mount, will mount, did mount, did update, and will unmount. These are the major ones in the cycle. And we discussed about various phases, how they work. That means in every phase, what activities happen. And generally, all these methods are internally executed. Generally, any life cycle methods of any technology are implicit. That means even you don't write, they are going to execute. That is the reason they are called as hooks. Why? Because they execute in a specific order. That means which method will be first mount, which method will be last unmount. There is an order for them. Now, why we should write them? We should write them so that we can define some additional actions. On that phase, we want some additional actions, then we can write them. So usually when a component will unmount, when you are leaving the component, when you are changing from one component to another. Let's check here. Means order we are checking here, right? Let's see. So I will create a component phase. Let's go to here. Yeah. Here I will add a folder cycle demo. And we have a cycle demo.jsx. So this is export class cycle demo extends react dot component. That's the component. And we have a constructor calling the super constructor. And here we render and return a markup. So this markup is so having a heading like some main component. We have two buttons here. One button is admin, another button is customer. So usually we kept a HR horizontal line and we put a div here. Okay. Margin top 4. Now we created here a state. We are configuring state. This dot state. This dot state is equal to object. And here we have component. It's an empty one. Component is an empty one. Now we are having two other components. So we have export class admin component extends react dot component. So it also have a constructor super, and it is having a render, and it is returning. So a simple heading here, span here, we will keep this is admin portal. And similarly, we have another component called customer. And here we are having, can you close the tables? So we have the customer portal, like customer portal and admin portal. Okay, thank you. So here what we do is, now these buttons have methods. So this is handle admin click, and this will have handle customer click. We have two options, admin click and customer click. Later, after learning routing concept, you will understand more there. Here on admin click, this dot set state. In this, we have the component. Component must be, we will render admin component here. We will assign admin component there. And on click of customer, we will render the customer component here. Admin and customer component render. We will access the component and show that here. So this dot state dot what it is component.
कोई नहीं जा रही है किस बड़ी बड़ी कहीं पे।
Now in the admin comp, I am using component did mount. Component did mount. In the component did mount, we are writing some log, console.log admin component requested and mounted. That is the message we are giving. And we will component have will unmount console.log here admin component will unmount. This is the message. Similarly, I am adding these phases. In a customer also we are adding the phases. This is customer component requested and mounted, and customer component will unmount. Just we return these phases with certain action. As I told you, what kind of actions we write in unmount. In unmount we write actions which are related to registering the methods, which are related to clean up the memories, right? Like deleting cookies, deleting sessions, all such things we do. So now when we start this here, and let's keep the cycle demo in the startup. Index the cycle demo. Okay. Now we are keeping this in the startup and defining. Let's inspect here. Go to the console here. In the console, we have the cycle component in the start. main component, that
यहाँ
is.
पे है इसको
And
यहीं
when
पे
I
लेना
click
इसको
on admin,
मुस्तकीम को अपने गोदी पे ले ले
now what
हाँ
happens
इधर आ
is,
जाओ इधर तू
so
आ जा
we
खसक
have
जा
to write the method. So let's
ये मत
put
मारेगा
the methods here. On click, on click, handle admin click, and here on click. So this
बस
dot
तो जा सकते हैं
handle customer click. They are using state, so it is necessary to
पकड़
bind
के रखो
bind with
देखना
this.
ऊपर वाला हिस्सा
So this is mandatory because when you are using state.
गिट्ठा मारा वहाँ
Okay, now let's say I click on admin. When I click on admin portal render. So you see here, admin is, it will say will unmount, but it is still not unmounted. It is just showing the message, it will unmount. Component is requested. This component is requested and it will unmount. Okay, admin component is requested. Finally, when it will unmount, admin component came. When I click on
धीरे है ना
customer,
धीरे
what
बंद
will
करोगे
happen now? Customer component will not load first. First,
काम में तो
admin will
सही से किए
unmount.
हो आज करियो
When I request customer, what will happen? First, admin will unmount.
तार
You see, when I click on customer, admin will unmount, customer will request. So the customer is also requested.
तू बच्चा को ट्रेन से ना भेज
And
सकता है
remember, this will unmount is
तू
nothing but
बच्चा को
it
ट्रेन से
is
भेज देता है तो
marking
इतना
for unmount. It is not unmounted. We call marking.
सही तो
Marking
बता रहा
means
है गलत का
it
बोली
says that this component is not permanent. Its memory will be unmounted, but unmount will not be done until or unless you change to another. I click on admin again. Then what will happen first? First, it is going to unmount the customer, then it will mount the admin. When I click on admin, you see that it will unmount the customer. After that, this will the actions performed. So have a sequence. Even you are not writing in sequence, they are executed in a sequence. They are performed in sequence. Usually, why developer writes these? It is not necessary every time, but we saw at the time of mounting, some data must be collected from API and stored. Then we have to write which phase component will mount or
उसका बच्चा
component
बोल दिस तो
did
गलत
mount.
तुम्हारा बच्चा भी तो बोलता है
All
बात
these
करो किसी
actions
से ना
depending
बोलते
on
जाएगा
your
कि जहाँ
requirement.
बात कर ले
It's
तो
not
भी
necessary
गलत
that you
लगता
have to
तो फिर
define
तुम भी
this.
लागू रखो अपने पे
And
उसको
these
भी बोलता
days,
है उसको भी बुरा लगता है बोल
majority
दिस
when we use function components, then we don't need these options. Because function
मना कर
components
बता
don't
तू भी
have
वही
these
सोचती है
phases, means it don't have these methods. But in interviews, they ask one question. I will give an example here. I will copy this
इसीलिए तो
example.
बोली इसकी मत
This is
देखियो
a
वो कोई
cycle
गुस्सा में है वो भी
demo.js.
हाँ
Just
हम लोग भी रहते थे यही
to
बात तुम लोग
understand.
बोलते
Later we will put in a example. Already mount we written in an example. Unmount and all we will use in cookies. We will see that. Initially, in interviews, what question they ask, like,
पर जवान जवान
so
बोल
the
दिया होगा
first
वो तो
important
बता दी
question is,
शर्म ना है जरा
so
सा तू
do
बोल
we
फेंक देता
have
ट्रेन से तो क्या हो जाता
life
कुछ बुरा हो जाता क्या
cycle hooks for function
बोलने में तो
components?
खराब लगे तुरंत
Do we have life cycle hooks for
बैठ रहे तो
function
सही सही
components? That is the first important
तू
thing.
इधर कहाँ पुल बनेगा
Do we have life cycle hooks for
नाला बना
function
रहा है
components? Actually, so
कोई ना कुछ नहीं होगा
life cycle hooks are methods, so used only for class components. Class components. So function components have hooks, but not life cycle hooks. Life cycle hooks. That's important. That is the reason I told you don't get confused between hooks and life cycle hooks. So these two topics are different actually. Hooks is different, life cycle hook is different. Then they ask like how to define actions on mount for function component. You already learned what is that answer? How you define actions on mount for function component? We have to use effect. So by using use effect hook. Now they have another question here, how to define unmount. Actions for function component. How you define unmount actions for function component. Actually, in a general class component, you have unmount and mount methods, and we cannot use them in function component. Then how function component manages mount? By using use effect. How it manages unmount? So by using use effect only. Use effect with return statement. By using use effect with return statement. Use effect will use a return statement that is going to unmount, because you know what is the meaning of return. Already we know that return is the jump statement, and when you use return, what it will do? So it is going to terminate. Return is to terminate now. It is going to terminate the component, and whatever memory allocated for the component, it will destroy. If you write in use effect, so use effect will mount, and in the use effect, if you use a return, it will unmount. It is going to unmount. It will mount and unmount. So that means you can define unmount by using use effect only. How? So let's say, suppose we have another export function component is there. Export function, and the function name I will give as, suppose like contact. So it will return a markup fragment, and here we will put a span, say contact page, like this. Now how do we access this contact? We will access that. So on click, so this contact. Okay, and here we have a handle contact click. Handle contact click we are defining. And this dot set state, it have to set the component as what? Contact. Contact is a function component. So here handle contact. Okay, and bind with the possible to use a function component in class component. So contact, it's working. Already we discussed it is possible. Last session we learned about it. Now where is the mount action? How you define the mount action? So let's, and here it is a function component. Then how you write the mount? Use effect. By using use effect, so we are configuring the mount phase. You know, use effect is having the dependency empty, and here we are defining the action console.log. So we will say contact mounted. It's the phase we are. Now, how do you write unmount phase? Unmount phase is, so return uses, return here, return is using. Suppose I am writing here. So a function we are defining. This function have a console.log as contact unmount will unmount. That is the action we configure. So usually this is the hook we have, and we click on contact, then you see contact mounted and it will unmount. Current phase is which one? Mount. When I click on customer, then first what will happen? Contact will have to unmount. That means you see, so contact will unmount. This is requested and this will unmount and it will mount. Which one is requested? So the which one is requested? The component is requested. When it requested, first which one will execute? The component will unmount. Component contact will unmount. After that final, currently which one is running? Customer component is requested and it is mounted. It is mounted. This action is defined by using return. It is defined by using return. So what is the final stage now? Is currently it is mounted. How you write an unmount for any component? Usually we write by using what? Return. Return method is used for that. So there is no separate hook for unmount. We have to define by using use effect. So unmount is defined in this way. So syntactically we have an use effect. This use effect is going to configure the mount, and actually here we have actions on mount. You write here. After that put a return. Return uses a function. This function have to define actions on unmount. That's how we define. So we don't have any life cycle methods. We have to manage using hook. And that's how we define the hooks. So this is all the differences between the class component and function. Have you tried any example with class? Suppose I showed you some API form requests. You try them with class. You have to try them with class. Same, I told you same, but only few changes you will do with the events and the state, right? Here you will not use state. Here you have to work with events as methods. And when you are using state, you need to use bind actions, right? Try the same example in class. That's enough. You can manage in both class as well as function. You try them. The function will work in the same. Axios will work in the same. Just you need to use events changes and another one is state changes. These two you need to know. So this is all about the concept of working with components. How we can deal with the components. So here we have component functions and component classes. So in the modern React, everything is preferred with functions because class are heavy, they use more memory, but they are good for extensibilities. But if you are not looking for extensibility, then better you go with what? Function components. Official, now the latest React communities recommend majority using of functions. But you should know both of them, right? Technical words I will give you. We will learn about some interview questions. There we will see technical words. Technical words already I told you. Stateful components, stateless components, why they are called, the difference we discussed already. Now, what we have learned is how to create a component and use a component. So React have a separate component library. React have a separate component library. That library have ready-made components for you. Now you are ready to use them. Because without knowing completely about component, you cannot use that library. That means to build applications in a faster way, you have to use like libraries like Bootstrap, Tailwind and all. But what is Bootstrap, Tailwind? They provide good UI component libraries, but they are designed with jQuery, JavaScript and jQuery. They are not native to React. That is the reason React have a native library with ready-made components which you can use for your projects and build good interface. That is called as React Material UI. That is called as React Material UI. Actually, in short, it is MUI. MUI. Material UI. Why you have to know? And this is not like something anybody teaches you, and hundreds of components are present. Some are free, some are paid. Then your companies will purchase them. You have to implement and use them according to your requirements. And these are actually independent from React. React and React Material are different. They are independently from React. So these will be changing very regularly. Every few days, few new things will come. And you can't stick to one approach every time because they will be changing. You need to keep updated yourself. And it is not something like anybody teaches you this. You have to explore, you have to learn everything by yourself. I will show you few components how to implement, others you have to try, you need to design, you need to explore by yourself, because it is hundreds in number, not one two. For example, anywhere, for example, you learned
जो चीज़ आदमी देखता है ना
HTML.
उसको लालच आ जाता है
When you learned
फिर उसके
HTML,
बाद धीरे धीरे
what
धीरे
you
धीरे
learnt in
सोचते हैं
HTML is,
उसके बारे में
suppose you learnt
फालतू
about
झाड़ू वाला
a element like
गलत कर रहे
image.
वाला ऐसे ऐसे होता है
Anywhere in the
बाद
world,
लेवे के
when
बाद
you learnt about HTML image, what you will learn from any tutorial online, YouTube, anywhere, image height, image width, image src, image related some properties you will learn. So you see here I am creating an image, document dot create element img, and for var property, so a property in img document dot write, we have a property. So here you see I am writing all the properties of image. You see image element of HTML itself is having so many properties.
लेडीज रहेगी खाला यहाँ
It has so many properties,
सब है तो मेहमान में
and you learn just only 4 5. That means your trainer is not teaching you good.
अरे वो
He, you will say that your trainer is not teaching complete HTML.
साफ सुथरा करके बढ़िया
That's like silly thing, because if you want your trainer to teach you complete everything invented by HTML, you should spend 1 year for HTML.
गद्दा उद्दा लगा देता है
Literally 1 year is also not enough for HTML, because every simple element have thousands of features, right? That means they spend years of time on a technology to build lot of things in behind it. It's not like only 3 4 options, and you can never say that a Java learner, .NET learner knows everything in Java.NET.
हमें जुलाओ इसको बोला हमें जुलाओ
So it is not possible at all. It is not possible, because
ये अभी चलने के लिए
they learn
20 साल
only
50
what
साल
is
लग
very frequently used everywhere. There is
हाँ
impossible, there is nothing in the world which can teach everything of a technology. It's not possible, and it is time waste also. So why? Because all these are not used by regularly everybody in every place. Do you know, even 15 12 years back, people who learned HTML from us, they already working as developers from more than 15 years in companies, already working, they are at very high level posts.
अमनवा का थोड़ा ऐसा
Now
मत कर
even today they send us email, sir, in HTML I got this issue, is there any option for this? That means he is already 10 years developer. From 10 years he is working on HTML only, but suddenly in his current project he got some requirement, and till all these 10 years he never used it, he never got a chance to use it, and in this project he wants to use it, and now he have a doubt like, is that element having that kind of facility? If not having, then he will build a component. If it is having, then he will use it. That means in those 10 years he will never get a chance to use all these things. But suddenly in one project it may be at high priority, then what he have to do?
बने हैं
He need to explore and learn about it by himself from the official documentations. So that he will get the information. Official documentations, you know, where you will get official documentation of HTML, what WG, What WG are the people who are maintaining and evolving HTML since 2004. And from here you will get information about HTML. Every feature of HTML invented by these people, you will get detailed information here. You will get complete detailed content will be there. Every option is explained here. So, and we can't complain if any one option is missing, because it is also a documentation designed by their community. They will say that if we are missing anything, please add. You know, Wikipedia. That means whatever given.
कॉल करो ये अरमान खाला कॉल करो.
That means we are missing anything, then please let us know. They will allow you to update. The point here is, the concept is, we can learn about certain components. Those components till date what they have you will understand, but in future they change, then you need to update yourself, you need to explore, and hundreds of components will be there. You may not need them every time, but when you need them, then you should able to explore and use them. That's the abilities you need to get. So we will see that how to handle, how we can manage. I will show some components, you try others. If you have any issues, then we can check. You come back to me, I will show you what issue you are facing, how do we resolve. Right, let's see here now. So what we are going to do, we are going to learn this React Material UI. And it is not completely free. It has several paid services also, paid features also. What is this Material UI? It is nothing but it is a component library for React.
उतर जा का हो
It is a component library for React. So it provides built-in components and services for React. Services for React. That means, what is the meaning of services?
हेलो हां
That means, what is the purpose of components? Components are required for building good interface. Services are required for making with good performance. That means, to create an application with good performance, several techniques and tricks are required. And if you can implement those tricks and techniques, the performance will be better. And for gaining that performance, you need to write logic so much. And they provide that logic as a service. They say that you don't write, we already written, just plug in. Then you will get this facility also. For example, I will tell you. Actually, component means we know. Suppose we have a text box. That means this is text box. A component. React Material people provide a text box. They provide a text box. This text box is written from their text, ordinary text box. It looks attractive. It looks effective. That is UI. For example, we are designing a container, and in this container, we are showing some images. And these images are coming from API. And thousands of images are programmed. And we are trying to show those thousands of images here. Now, on his screen, a small container we kept. And when we kept a small container here, in that there are 3 images are displayed. But there are how many images? Thousands of images are there. These 1,000 images are loaded below or not? User is watching only 3 on screen, but there are 1,000. Are these 1,000 images loaded or not? If you are loading those 1,000 images, that's not good. Why it is not good? Why you are loading 1,000 images when he can watch only 3? Then what we do is we put a scroll bar. When user slides the scroll bar down, then next 3 will come. That's good. And how to implement this mechanism? You saw NASA API I showed you. Hundreds of photos are there. Why you are loading them? You see Google search. Millions of images will come. But all images will display at a time? No. When you scroll down, next set of images will be loading. How to achieve this? What is the technique behind this? To achieve this, the technique behind this is lazy loading. In software programming, a developer have to implement a mechanism called lazy loading. Lazy loading means an object is created and initialized and used only when it is required. That means until or unless he scrolls down, we will not create a next set. That is good. This, to implement such lazy loading, it is not component, it is a behavior for component, it is performance. Such performance related services also these people will provide. So material is not about only design, it is about some functionalities and design sell. We have to buy and use them. Suppose you have a HTML. In HTML there is a calendar. That calendar can select only one date. But I am designing a make my trip like app, and in that they have to select range of dates, start date and date. HTML calendar cannot do. Then will you build a calendar? That's not a great idea. You cannot build a calendar by yourself and waste time. Then how? Then we have ready-made calendar components. Okay, they provide a free calendar component. We can use it. But that free calendar have limitations. We want more effects, then you have to buy. They have such services. So this is the point. So components are required for building better UI. And services are required for better service, for better performance. And like React material, there are so many others. It's not just only React material. React material you can use. Some companies may not use. Some companies will use other than React material. Another one is, this is MUI. Let's see MUI. This is React material. And see the first point. The first point is fast. That means any third-party library's main intention is only one: build fast, interactive UI fast. That means you see, they provide Amazon, Spotify, these all people are using this. So you see NASA also using this. And interesting is you have another like Telerik. This is Telerik. This is also good for creating interactive UI. You see, these people are using it.
ये तो नाली
NASA, Microsoft, Fox, Samsung, IBM. These are using Telerik. Like NASA is using both,
तो है नदी है
of course, because have certain features which they need, and they need one more support. That means already we learned everyone have gaps.
रहा तो पूरा घाट पे चढ़ा रहा है
It's not like it can fulfill every requirement. It can't fulfill every requirement. Then we need one more support.
400
दो चार ठो डुबा
And these will provide
पानी तो हर
the
साल
good for UI. You see demos, they will have a good component library for, let's say, they have for everyone. .NET, Java, PHP, for every technology they have a support. You see React demos, these hundreds are there. These are all React related components. Hundreds will be
चालू
there.
हो गया तब
Many times people come and ask, sir, will you teach how to design graphs, charts in React? React don't have anything like that.
के आ जाओ मुझे से बाबा को गोदी में ही डाल ले ले
Then how do I teach you that? Then I have to take you to a third party and introduce you to third party. Is every third party same? No. Is every third party free? No.
ले लो दो तो
There is no chance. React don't have anything like that. So, but you need to build them in your real world projects. In that case, we need third party. Is every third party syntactically same? Not same. Then you have to manually explore and use them. And you can't guarantee, because these days at high level MNCs are using Telerik, Dev Express, like so many other third parties, and all are different. You need to explore and use according to your requirements. So you see, now we will see MUI, how it works. In MUI, you see several pricing is also there.
पानी लाए
That means they are responsible for providing some free, and so for
यही करेगी
some
तो
pay.
बाप रे बाप
If you
उल्टी कर
select
रहे
them and you see per month per developer $37. That means to give access to a developer per month, it charges like that. Per developer they charge, but still companies are okay with this. They purchase and they give to you because they want them. Right? Let's see how to use them. See the products they are having. What is the products list here? You see what they are having. MUI is having ready to use components. These are free. These are free. UI is having user experience. These are components for complex use cases. Use cases means these are for performance.
अरे
For
कहानी मत
different
शुरू करो
situations, to give different good performances, they have UI UX.
अरे करेगा तो कर उल्टी
They have some fully built templates. They have some
ना गिरेगा
designing
वो
tools.
गिरेगा तो
Like we
किस्मत
are using VS Code. They have separate IDs. You can download and use them to build faster applications with React. That means they provide simple drag and drop
एक और मारना
approaches
चाहिए
to
था
design and
ताकि आप
create
इधर से
so
दो
many
मारा
UI
उधर से एक
tools they
मारा
provide. But these are all their services. You have to purchase them.
अरे मत
Only
मार
this
मार
is free for us. This is free for us. Even to use some
निकालिए
advanced
साहब
performances, you need to pay.
टीवी लेके तैयार हो
So
रही है
let's
अरे
see how we can use that. That means what we are going to use. That means we are going to see how to work with MUI. So, and
बांध सही से
MUI
पकड़ ले
board
रखो थोड़ा सा देख के
provides components for
तो क्या हो
free.
चिट्टा थोड़ी हो जाएगा सब रोहन है हाँ
And
बांध कस के बस बस रे हो गया
MUI
ना रे है
X provides
अब क्या करेगा उतने में तो चला जाए
So functions for various use cases. For various use cases. That is actually UX, user experience. So MUI have templates, fully built templates. They have fully built templates. You can use them. So it provides even tools for building interactive apps. They have tools also for building interactive apps. But all are not free. Only that MUI core is free for us. And very recently they changed it. Very recently. That means anybody have used this material. So 5-6 months back is different. And now it is different. Complete different. So 5-6 months back it is different. Now it is complete different because recently they changed the complete library by adding some new components into it. Complete library they changed. That means, see, if they have added complete library, then that is difficult because whatever is not applicable now. Even the installation process also changed. How you set up, how to install, what extra you need to install also changes now. That is the reason MUI old and MUI now is different. That is why you need to keep in touch with this regularly because a few days they change actually. So that means now latest MUI is a complete rewritten of MUI. They rebuilt it with some new dependencies they added. They added a new dependency called emotions. So earlier they don't have that emotions. MUI added a new library called emotions. Without that, the new version will not work. And that emotions library gives a good performance for the UI. Actually, they introduced that. So, how to set up MUI for project? How do you set up MUI for project? So, you go to the MUI component library, the material UI, and this is what you have to do. This is the new thing you need to set up. So, this is you have to install npm install MUI material emotion react emotion style. That is new actually. Earlier they were not having that. And earlier adding MUI also different. There is a different process for adding MUI. Setup and adding is different. But now you have to do this. So you need to install MUI like this. So the latest version of MUI, here I will give here. So MUI for React 18x versions use emotion library. So which is a complete rewrite from its previous versions. Rewrite from its previous version. So the latest version of MUI will not work on old versions of React projects. Suppose you created a project 5-7 months back. In that project, now you are installing this MUI. It will fail. It will not work. It will not work. only for the projects that you recently created. Only for them it will work. For old projects, what you have to do, you have to install in a different way, and there certain limitations are there. You can get it from this website itself.
फुलवारी में
Actually, so this MUI, this is the MUI we are having,
लाइफ टाइम
and MUI have versions, different versions. Compatibility is there. You see, MUI current version is 5. The old versions are different. We have 4 and other versions are there. These are the old versions. Companies may be still using those versions. When you look at the old version, suppose 4, and get started with 4, and you see it is a different approach. They used to install only Metal Core. There is no emotion library. There is no emotion library. And the installation process is different. Link, icons, how to define, it's different.
आसपास वाला लेता है
They don't have an emotion library. Emotion library came from which version? It is available, emotion library is available from 5. Actually, in this 5 version, this is the 5 version. And in this 5 version, the emotion library is available. They added that emotion library, we can use them. Earlier, you don't have them. And earlier, they have only MVC. This is Material Core. Material Core. That means even installation setup process will change. Blindly, you cannot install latest material in your old projects. That means if you already built a React app, your company is already using, check which version it is. For that version, you have to set up the suitable material. Otherwise, they don't work. So complete failure it is. It is not compatible at all. So make sure that. So let's go to our project now. And in this project, I will set up that MUI here. So npm install MUI material and this one. Emotion style. We are installing all the material related dependencies, whatever required. Now you will understand the advantage and the purpose of this MUI. Let's see.
हाथ जागा था
We will see the difference here.
बीच में खड़े हो जाइयो ट्रेन के
So once it is set up and installed,
वो साथ जो 1 इंच हिलियो ना रह जाएगा ट्रेन पे पूरा सारा सामान
yeah. Once it is set up and installed, now let's add a new component. In our components, let's add a new component. This is MUI demo. Okay. MUI demo.jsx. So we have a export function MUI demo, and just return. So simple. I will give a markup here, container fluid, and here we are adding MUI demo. Okay, here let's put a div. First, I will show you. Let's keep a data list here. In data term, so Bootstrap text box. We are already using Bootstrap now. For components, we are using already Bootstrap. So W25, yeah. And let's say how a Bootstrap text box looks like. Input type is equal to text. and class is form control, and placeholder is so user name. Just like this I given. This is a bootstrap text box. Let keep this MUI demo in the startup.
जान लेते यही होगा मेरे पता
In the startup. Okay, so MUI is in the startup. This is bootstrap text box.
सटा दिए सटा के
Let's see MUI text box how it looks like. MUI have text box, MUI have buttons, MUI have a lot of things. How to explore we will learn. Let's see here. So let's go to component here.
सारा चुती है
Another data term I will add box. Now, how to use text box of MUI? So first, in order to use any component, first you should know the component related base. What is the base of that component? Actually, you have two approaches of importing library. You can import only the component that you want, or you can import the complete material library and use all components. We have two approaches. That means what you can do, you can import button from material UI. You can import button from MUI material.
सामने था एकदम
This is one way. That means just I showing you button.
रोकेगा कि
That means you can use this in this way. But what is this?
ट्रैक्टर वाला
This is importing complete material just for using button, not great idea. That means you are importing complete component library just for using a button. That's not good. Then you can try like this. You can import.
घर पास है ना
You can import here. We are importing. So a text box, suppose we have text field. We are using a text field from text field is for text box, right? We are importing a text field from @MUI.material have text field. We can import like this. What is good about this? It will import only text field. It will not import everything. Your wish, you can use anything. That means you can import everything. And because if you are trying to use multiple components, importing every component individually is not great idea. Again, if you are using only one or two components, then you better import only what is needed for you. Now here, how to use it? So I am using here a component called text field. These are built-in components. Built-in components means just like we built our own components, navbar, grid, it's built-in component. In this text field,
लिए ना सर
now you can have some features. So text field. So what are the features available for this text field? It have a label. Text field have a label. I will give the label as user name. User name is a label. Text field have a variant. Variant is there. What is the variant of text field? You have filled outline standard. I given a standard outline variant for that. Now you can see that this is the component. It looks little different. That's good. It have animations, it have effects, it have performance, everything. A readily built one. Many times people see such things on website and come and ask, sir, how to design like this. So we don't need to design anything with CSS and all these things. We just use ready-made components provided to us. We don't waste time in building this. How to create like this with CSS we can do, but it takes a lot of time for that. We have ready-made components, we just use them. And there are different appearances here. I just selected a variant here. And what is that variant is standard. You have a variant like an outline. Outline, huh? it have a variant like outlined variant will look like this. This is an outlined variant. In this outline variant, when I click inside, it goes there. That's the outline variant we are having. So we have a filled variant. There is a filled variant. So filled variant will look like this. This is a filled variant. So we have a standard variant. Standard variant. That is the standard. Remember, this is just design and effective interface. Functionality, everything same. How to collect the value from it and display, nothing change. All your logic will be similar. That means now what we have to do. So we need to configure a state. Username is equal to set username is equal to use state. Use state is a string, and here we display some text. So say hello, and the username we get it from username field, and how you define it. That means what we do. So here we have to configure a function, and what is that function? Handle name change. And what should happen? Set username e dot target dot value, and here you need a e, and this will use on change this dot, not this, handle name change. That's enough. That means it is nothing but what we are doing here is we are entering that everything same, no change. Everything same, there is no change. That means here you are giving a better interface for this. You saw, I told you, if when we in the first sessions when we designed Netflix like screen, there I told you a point like we got Netflix like appearance, but we haven't got that feel. The feel of Netflix is not there. The feel of appearance is there. That means appearance is there. Okay, we got black color background, photos, everything, but the feel is not there. Button doesn't look like that. Text box doesn't look like that because their text box are different. They are using MUI. Netflix is using MUI. So that means suppose this is a bootstrap button here. So bootstrap have a button. And what is this? Suppose submit is a button. This is a bootstrap button. Class what? BTN, primary. These are bootstrap buttons. That's a bootstrap button we are having. That's a bootstrap button. Okay. Let's put a MUI button. That means we have a button. This button is actually related to MUI. So this is from MUI. Yeah. From MUI, we are using a button. And here, let's see, I will give as submit here. Submit is the button. And usually, this is a button. This button looks different. These buttons will have several attributes. What is that? So is button is having a variant. Yeah. What variants it is having? Outlined, contained, text. Outlined button. So that means it is an outlined button like this. Now, if you want to know all the features for this, then what you have to do is you have to explore all the features from this MUI. You go to MUI, go to the docs. In the docs, you need to search for MUI core docs. In the MUI core docs, you have components, same like Bootstrap it will be. You know, Bootstrap also same will be the documentation. Components, you see which component you are looking for, button. and you click on the button, and this is the button, and button related its different models.
सीधा चलना
We
है
have like contained, we have like this, and we have some colors for the buttons.
आगे है
And what is it color, what are the attributes,
सैटेलाइट का
they
काम
give the attributes for that,
क्या
and they are not same across everyone, it changes. That means we have another style. What it is,
हाँ बहुत सारे
contained is a button like this. This is a contained button. You see this button looks different.
कहाँ पे
And what is it, so we have a color, color, which color you can have. So I think danger is there, huh? Danger is not there, error, huh? Error is there,
यही बना रहा
and error color, so it will give you the error color like this. You saw Netflix have this type of button,
अच्छा अभी रेडी नहीं
and we kept this
Ready
button,
हुआ है?
and we can't get that feel of Netflix,
है जहानाबाद एकदम तुरंत
right?
पहुंचेगा
The appearance, the colors, the shades are different.
ये ऊपर ऊपर
So these functionalities, everything same, just only the point is how you use the component. And now you have more components, like you have pop-ups, you have dialog boxes, you have calendars.
देना चाहिए
I will show some more components,
दो देना चाहिए
one to more components, how to explore, how to learn about components, I will show you. Then based on that you have to try others. 2-3 more components I will show, calendars and others, how to handle them. Then we can use other concept, right? So now you can use this for building your interface in a better way. You can create a form completely by using this MUI. So instead of Bootstrap, now it looks little different than that. So now other components, how to handle them, that we'll see tomorrow, right? In tomorrow's session we will discuss few more components, and others you have to explore by yourself. Then we can go into the concept of routing and all. Okay, tomorrow we will discuss about these components. Okay, right?
जैसे बढ़िया जा रास्ता था वो वाला मीठापुर से जब सीधा
वो लंबा रोड
हाँ लंबा था रास्ता